I'd like to welcome our President, Mr. G. Unnikrishnan. Mr. T.P. Srinivasan, we're waiting. President TMA, Mr. G. Unnikrishnan, I'd like to call upon you to deliver the welcome address for the valedictory session.
Her Highness Puyanthirunal Gauri Parvati Bai, Shri T.P. Srinivasan, Shri Sushil Kumar, Shri Suresh Kumar, distinguished guests, delegates, esteemed speakers, ladies and gentlemen. A very good evening to you all. They say all good things must come to an end. And so it is for the 2-day incredible journey that we had in connection with TRIMA 2025. What an enriching and thought-provoking experience it was. But yes, all good things have to come to an end. Across 4 to 5 sessions, we explored the evolving challenges of leadership in a rapidly shifting world. We saw how being agile, adaptable, and flexible are not just desirable, but they are essential components. They are not just desirable, but essential components of being a good leader. We also discussed the power and promise of AI. And the big question still remains whether AI will continue to be beneficial or would it be detrimental. We were also reminded how values, morals, ethics, and empathy should stay at the heart of the digital future. Ladies and gentlemen, each session left us with new perspectives. Perspectives to reflect upon, perspectives to question, and perspectives to act upon. We all know leadership is a quality that is not confined to one generation. It is a quality that maybe we imbibed from our earlier generation, and our future generation is going to imbibe it from us. And with this keeping this in mind, TMA is planning. Friends, we support young managers and we want them to become good leaders. This event is called Shaping Young Minds Program, and it is on the 26th of September at Uday Palace Convention Center. So this is just the first curtain raiser information to all of you. Please do join us then. Now on to my pleasant duty. Let me welcome Her Highness Puyanthirunal Gauri Parvati Bai. Thank you, Princess, for accepting our request and being here with us this evening. We have with us Shri T.P. Srinivasan, former Ambassador and Director General of Kerala International Center. Thank you, sir, for accepting our invitation and being here with us. May I welcome Mr. Sushil Kumar, General Manager of SBI, one of our principal sponsors. Mr. B. Suresh Kumar is part of our TMA family. He is the Senior Vice President TMA. May I heartily welcome B. Suresh Kumar. So, ladies and gentlemen, this year's TRIMA draws to a close. But the conversations do not end here. We'll return next year for TRIMA 2026 with another relevant topic, stronger, and more inspired. Thank you and welcome.
Thank you, sir. Allow me to introduce a revered statesman and former ambassador of India to the UN in Vienna, Mr. T.P. Srinivasan, whose diplomatic career spans 37 years across key global postings from New York to Nairobi, Washington to Fiji. As Governor of India at the IAEA and the chair of several union committees, he shaped India's voice in multilateral diplomacy. An academic achiever and prolific writer, he is the author of 7 acclaimed books and a regular contributor to leading publications worldwide. Mr. Srinivasan continues to, Mr. Srinivasan continues to grace us here time and again, and we're happy to have him again, sir. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Dear Princess, or shall I say Chevalier Princess, the President, Mr. Unnikrishnan, the distinguished leaders of the State Bank of India, all other distinguished guests. I must say I was pleasantly surprised that I was invited here today. The last 20 years that I have been in Trivandrum, I was associated with the Trivandrum Management Association in various capacities. And I reached the pinnacle of it last year, being the chairman of TRIMA. And I thought after that, TMA would have no use for me. That's why I said it was pleasant that I was asked to come here. And I see in it a rising interest in international affairs, which are very important for any industry. Kerala International Center. I bet many of you have not heard about it. But in the last several years, since 2007, we have been running this center on a shoestring budget, but doing very useful things, particularly helping management students to understand the world. Most universities in the world, management studies include international relations. But none of our management schools here has that facility. In fact, I introduced a semester in SEMS, one in the DC Management School, and Rajagiri. They are limping along, but there isn't much of interest because it is not part of the regular curriculum. In the United States, I noticed that any delegation going into any country, they would go to the concerned embassy and ask the ambassador or any other senior officer to go and brief them. Briefing not simply about India-US relations, not only about business, but also culture, the way of greeting, how to deal with guests and your hosts. And they do a thorough job of it. And that is why most of these delegations, when they come here, have an understanding of what Trivandrum is and what should they be doing. But I'm not very sure that this is being practiced here. But first of all, we don't have too many embassies. I call this a 2-ambassador town. And both 2 ambassadors are in one family. We had very distinguished ambassadors here like APS Menon, Thomas Abraham, and others, but they have all disappeared from the face of the earth. So how much can 2 ambassadors do to brief you? So I think it is important for us to know what the world is like and what the challenges are. I do not need to give you an account of what the world is, except to say that it is topsy-turvy. It is topsy-turvy basically because the United Nations has ceased to exist in practice. The building is still there, meetings are held. But do you know that the Secretary General of the UN is persona non grata in one of the members of the United Nations? that is Israel. That is a tragedy. Another one that we know is that a permanent member of the United Nations, whose responsibility it is to keep the peace. The 5 permanent members were given veto, not as a gift because they won the Second World War, but because they took on the responsibility of keeping the peace in the world. And that is why the United Nations Charter has a scheme of dealing with conflicts. You start with preventive diplomacy, then you go on to a ceasefire if the war takes place, then there is a peacekeeping operation, then there is a peace-building operation, and then maybe some elections after which everything comes back to normal. But since the 21st century, we see that this scheme does not work. Yesterday, Air Marshal mentioned about 7 or 8 conflicts. But believe me, according to the Swedish Academy of Peace, there are 59 wars raging at this moment, including a Nobel Peace Prize winner, the Prime Minister of Ethiopia, fighting a war against his own people. This was not anticipated. And now, since 2022, we also have a permanent member of the United Nations fighting a war against another UN member. Not anticipated. Impossible. How can a permanent member fight someone and then veto the decisions to suit themselves? China did not allow the UN Security Council even to meet to consider the COVID because they thought that there will be accusations made against China, the Wuhan virus as it was called. So such exceptional things are happening. If only the United Nations Security Council had dealt with COVID as it dealt with HIV, AIDS, or Ebola virus, COVID would have been controlled much earlier. But there was no international cooperation. Strangely, the richest countries in the world lost more people than poor countries. And therefore, that role of the United Nations to contribute to the peace in the world and also to fight existential threats to humanity. So you can imagine what the United Nations has become. As a result, you have an old world order which is dead or dying. I remember the old days when there was the East and the West, and we were the non-aligned countries between them, gaining from both sides. I'm very homesick about that kind of a world order. But today there is no such world order. Alliances are not there. Warsaw Pact is gone. NATO is there, but is trying something else. NATO is not fighting communism. They are fighting among themselves most of the time. Why is this happening? Why there are no alliances? My feeling is that this is because everyone is waiting for a place for itself in the new world order which is yet to be established. So you don't want to take a position on anything. You wave between what is called a soft balancing so that you do not get accustomed to or get loyal to any particular country because you do not know which country will take the leadership. Is it going to be the US? Is it going to be China? Is it going to be Russia? Is it going to be India? So every country in the world, if you look at their reaction to the world events, you will find them being neutral. In the case of Russia-Ukraine war, India is considered to be neutral. But our Prime Minister said this is wrong. We are not neutral. We are on the side of peace. He told President Putin to his face, Mr. President, this is not the age for war. This is the age for diplomacy. So everything is uncertain. And everyone is figuring out what its position is in the new world order. Where it will come from, how it will evolve itself, we do not know. The prediction is that perhaps the future world will be democracies poised against autocracies. If that is going to be the order, then we know where we will stand. But frankly, we do not know. Another interesting thing that has happened very recently is what Donald Trump has done. You'll all laugh when you hear Donald Trump, because you do not know what he is going to do next. What will you do next? He will do anything. That's the answer. But he has done a dramatic change in world affairs by talking of a trade war rather than a fighting war. I don't know if you noticed that. He said when he became president that I want to end all wars. We took it literally, there will be no wars. But what he has invented today is what is called a trade war. Definitely, trade is better than fighting. So, though it may sound mad, because if you establish trade wars, you will certainly destroy the foundation of international relations. You will destroy the international economic situation. But compare it to bombing, compare it to use of nuclear weapons. Isn't this better? A kind of trade war, and if you don't do something, you don't say I'll shoot you, but I'll impose a tariff on you. It's a good thing, I would say. He told Putin, if you don't stop the war in 50 days, I'll impose tariff on you. He claims that he said to India and Pakistan, which we refute, we say he didn't say this to anybody, but he announced on that day when there was a ceasefire between India and Pakistan, he said, I told these guys that if they don't stop the war today, I will not trade with either of you. And they got scared. This is what he claimed. Of course, the Prime Minister said in Parliament day before yesterday that nobody told me about trade. Nobody talked to me. Anyway, whatever is the story. So I see here a beginning of a new culture evolving. That is, we will not be threatened by nuclear weapons or other weapons. And therefore, there is a beginning of something which is emerging as part of the global order. Perhaps it will be a trade-oriented world. We do not know what will be. So what I'm saying is, if you're a manager or an industrialist or a businessman, you need to know what is happening in this world. How can you trade with any country without knowing the history of that country and our own relationships? You see the astonishing things happening. President Moizu of Maldives went and won an election saying that India out. And he asked Indian soldiers to leave. He wanted us to take away the Indian helicopter. And behold, within 6 months, he is now embracing our Prime Minister and saying, you are my brother. How did that happen? Economics. Because he found that there was no point in loving China if China does not help. So when India went with help to him, ideology did not matter. Now his mantra is India in. He says, please come to Maldives. So you don't know where you go, what to do. United States is not going to be your great partner in future. If the tariffs are 25%, you won't be able to sell anything to the United States. You know that. But I'm sure there will be some trick up his sleeve, because he always says, Indian Prime Minister is my friend, but he's the king of tariffs. So the world view is changing. And so how can you do business with a world which you do not understand? And that is why I believe that it's very important for managers, particularly when you are discussing leadership, to know where exactly this world is going and what can we do to make it better. Here now, I remember soon after the end of TRIMA last year, I heard some rumors that the TMA was going to establish an international center in Trivandrum. These were rumors. So some of them who were involved in that, I found, were people who are members of the Kerala International Center. So I talked to them separately. They said, no, we are just exploring, etc. But I realized that was a serious proposal. So if it is a serious proposal, why don't you use an organization which has existed since 2007? We meet every week to discuss international relations. We meet every 2 weeks to read poetry. We have guests coming from abroad. Every ambassador who comes to Trivandrum is invited. And also, I also invite them to my weekly program on international affairs. So why don't you use an existing machinery, mechanism? But apparently, a meeting was held. I was not told about it. But they decided to build another international center. So I thought I'll make this opportunity to request you to consider the Kerala International Center becoming your center. Please join. It's an established, registered organization. So it will be great if TMA and KIC can work together and provide the kind of support that I mentioned. But to do business abroad, come to the Kerala International Center, which will be yours. This is the message I wanted to give you, and that's why I said I'm very pleasantly surprised that I was asked to come here, and I thought I'll make these points. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Your depth of experience and perspective has certainly left us with much to reflect on. Over to you, Jisha.
It is our privilege to welcome Her Royal Highness Poyam Tirunal Gauri Parvati Bai, an esteemed member of the Travancore royal family, whose legacy continues to shape Kerala's cultural and spiritual identity. The daughter of Lieutenant Colonel Goda Varma Raja and niece of His Highness Chittira Tirunal Balarama Varma, the last reigning Maharaja of Travancore. Her Highness is part of one of southern India's most historically significant royal lineages. Her father's contributions to sports, tourism and aviation, from founding the Kerala Sports Council to establishing Trivandrum's Flying Club, laid enduring foundations that still inspire today. Her statue and influence extend far beyond borders. The Chevalier Legion d'Honneur, France's highest civilian honor bestowed upon her, stands testament to the global respect and admiration she commands. With humility and dignity, she has touched the hearts of many across generations, becoming a symbol of Kerala's rich legacy, not just remembered in history, but actively lived in spirit. Let us extend our warmest welcome to Her Highness to deliver the valedictory address.
Thank you for the very nice introduction. Sometimes I don't really recognize myself when you say such nice things about me. The dignitaries on the dais, all of them, most of them, old friends, whom I have known as Unni, Srini, and Suresh. Only the gentleman from the State Bank of India is a newcomer in my life, but all the others, they are old friends, and I'm happy to be with all of you to inaugurate this valedictory session. You must all be impatient to go home. You want to wind up. So I asked Unni, what do you want me to say? I belong to the age of the dinosaurs, and you are tomorrow's people. So what do you want me to tell your delegates? So he politely said, you can say a grandmother's good night story and send them all home. Trivandrum is coming along very nicely. We are not a sleepy little town with pretty trees and beaches anymore. We are home to people who matter, who can make things happen, and who are able to step confidently into the future. So many wonderful things have happened because there is no way you can stop progress. Tomorrow has to come, and then day after, and the day after that. We cannot go backward. But I always say that we should remember when we look at tomorrow and day after tomorrow, we should remember to look at yesterday and day before yesterday as well, because that is where your foundation is. And without a basic foundation, you cannot build on it. We have made great strides in many fields. For instance, in the field of education, you read that universities from overseas are coming to set up shop in India. We have great teaching institutions and teachers. But look at our children. They all want to go overseas. We have made enormous strides in the field of medicine with much less trauma to the patients, the immediate dissemination of information, because today with the computer you can sit in New York and talk to somebody in Trivandrum. You can do all that. New inventions, machines which even take the place of human beings, all these are there. But the tremendous costs of hospitalization makes these wonders and these privileges unavailable to a great cross-section of the people. We have planes. Every day you say, well, there are 4 flights to Bangalore, but they must rise. They must go into the air. There is no point in saying that we have 4 flights to Bangalore, we have 3 flights to Delhi, we have 3 flights to Bombay. If they don't take off on time and get you there, we are somewhat stuck. See, I observe, as I grow older, I am observing a growing disconnect, whether it is in families or at the workplace. We are becoming little islands. I was very happy sitting there looking at all of you. I must say you are a very polite audience. Nobody has taken out a mobile phone. Nobody is sending messages or looking at messages, which very often happens when you are talking to somebody or when somebody else is talking. People are busy doing their own thing on the little mobile phones. As a matter of fact, the mobile phones have a lot to answer for. It is an extension of our lives. All the information that is important to you is on that tiny little machine, but it is taking over our lives in a way that is not really quite desirable. You were talking kind words about my father. My father wanted all youngsters to play games, to be active, to be physically active. In the old days, driving from Trivandrum to my father's place in Punyar, after 3:30, you heard the sounds of children playing. There were sounds everywhere. They're kicking around their football, or they're playing cricket, or they're just running around and playing. Today, do you find a single child playing anywhere? You don't. And it's not just because apartments have come. Because even now, when you leave the cities, there are no apartments. There are open spaces, but no children to play in them, because they're all busy looking at their little computers or playing games on the tab. I come from a joint family where everything was equated as ours or we. Today, it is I and mine. That is the difference I see. The older I get, this is the big difference I see between my childhood and today. Everybody is a little island encircled by their own thoughts and actions. There is no give and take. There is no connection. There is no communication. At the same time, have we reached a stage of, let's say, Europe or America? Mentally, we are not prepared to accept that yet. That reality where if you are old, you are popped into an old age home, and if your children remember to send you a birthday card or call you up for Christmas, you consider yourself very lucky. I was recently on the west coast of the United States, and I was addressing a meeting of 4 Rotary clubs in Seattle. And one of the ladies there asked, "Did you call your mom?" I said, "What for?" When my mother, at that time my mother was alive, she never liked to talk on the phone very much. I said, "No, you didn't call your mom on Mother's Day? You didn't want to say hi to your mom on Mother's Day?" I said, "In India, we don't believe in Mother's Day. We don't believe in Father's Day. We don't believe in all these funny days. Yesterday was Friendship Day. Then day before yesterday was something else, some other day. Finally, you will run out of days to have, and they make silly things like Chocolate Day and Potato Chip Day and Pizza Day, things like that." So I said, "In India, we don't have that." He said, "You don't want to be nice to your parents?" I said, "For us, every day is Mother's Day. Every day is Father's Day. Every day is Teacher's Day." So they found that very difficult to accept. And same way, every day is Friendship Day, because your friends, the friends that you make, they are not paid for. You don't buy them in a shop. You have the freedom to select your friends. You keep them as long as they and you want. It's a wonderful journey. And in the journey of life, you find many people walking alongside you. Some people branch off. Some you don't see anymore, but then new people come to walk alongside you. So that is the beauty of life. And I think we are losing all that. We have become somewhat mechanical. We think machines can do the work of men. I'm sure they can. But I still think, Dr. Sahadullah was just telling me, that it still needs a human hand to press that button to get it all started. So as long as the human hands are there, we will all be relevant. And it is up to you to train young people, to mold them, to face the challenges that every day is going to bring. It's going to be new challenges. We have no idea what those challenges are going to be. A couple of days ago, you talked about artificial intelligence. We had the author, Rajiv Malhotra. He had come to our house, and he said when he lives in Princeton, and he said he was one of the earliest architects of AI. And he said, "Now I'm thinking, did we create a Frankenstein monster? Is it going to get out of hand when we will not be able to control it anymore?" So knowledge is there, methods are there, but it is up to you to use them wisely and to use them well. Mr. Srinivasan talked about the COVID. I think this generation will always be remembered as the pre-COVID and post-COVID eras. Because one tiny little virus, whatever, if it was a virus, this tiny little thing which you can't even see with the naked eye, it controlled the whole world as we know it. We were all imprisoned. It did what no other power could do. So that teaches you to put life into perspective. And you get up in the morning and you say, "But for the grace of God, you will not see this day." Take each day as a gift. Live it well. It may not be anything sensational happening on that day, but it is still a day in your life. And I think that is important, how you use your life. You can tell children. Recently, I met a friend from England, and she was saying, "These Indian students, they are very different." I said, "What do you mean Indian students are very different?" He said, "First of all, they're all jumping up." I said, "What do you mean they're jumping up?" He said, "When the teacher comes into the room, they're standing up." I said, "I think that's very polite when the teacher comes to class to stand up and say good morning or whatever it is. They say, oh, we don't do that anymore. We don't even call the teachers professor, or in the old days they used to call them miss. We don't do that anymore. We call them by name. And she said she has 2 boys. They don't call her mother. They call her by name because she wants to be friends with her children. And I thought that was one of the saddest statements I've ever heard, because nobody else will call her mother. It is so wonderful to be called a mother and a grandmother. Friends they will find on their own. They don't need you to be called by name to be their friend. So she said, you are right. Nobody will call me mother, you are quite right. So she told her boys, from tomorrow onwards you call me mom. And they said, we can't, because so many years, now 35 years we've called you by your name, now we can't start calling you mom anymore. So I said, now wait, your son is going to have a baby. So when that baby comes, teach that child right away to call you grandmother, to call you grandma. She said, I'll do that. So you see, we are losing, I don't know what we are losing in this journey of life. We are gaining a lot, but we are also losing a lot. And I think people like you have the knowledge and the ability to decide what to choose, what to discard, what to improve upon, and what to give on to the generations to come. I don't want to make a long speech here, but I want to wish you well. I want to wish you many years of doing wonderful things for Trivandrum to make this a better place to live in and work in, because you tried to make it so. Thank you all. I'm glad you had a wonderful conference. Come back re-energized for more such sessions, and God bless you all.
Thank you, Her Highness, for that beautiful grandmother story, although it will only make to reflect more on our lives. Thank you so much.
Before we announce, before we invite the Senior VP, Suresh Kumar, for the vote of thanks, a word of appreciation to these 2 ladies who have been giving a wonderful intro and wonderful discussion for the last 2 days. And may I introduce these 2 MCs? One is Ms. Anupama Ramachandran, CEO of the White Paper, Life Coach Creative, and she is the former WEN president. May I request the Princess to kindly hand over a token of appreciation from Trivandrum Management Association. And next, Dr. Jisha Gopi, a veteran now in TRIMA. She has been a regular MCing for the last 3 years. She is the Assistant Professor, College of Engineering, Trivandrum, Dr. Jisha Gopi. May I request the Princess to kindly hand over of appreciation from Trivandrum Management Association.
My pleasure to introduce Mr. B. Suresh Kumar, respected former electrical inspector, former executive officer of the revered Sri Padmanabhaswamy Temple. Now as secretary of the Trivandrum Tennis Club is where he continues to foster excellence in community engagement. Please, sir, we are delighted to hear you deliver the vote of thanks.
Good evening. It is about 5 o'clock. Her Highness Princess Poyantirunal Gauri Parvati Bai, Ambassador Sri T.P. Srinivasan, Sri Unnikrishnan, President, distinguished guests, on the dais, TMA members, delegates, invites, students, ladies and gentlemen. Dear friends, as the curtains come down on TRIMA 2025, I stand before you with immense pride and gratitude. For the past 2 days, we have witnessed 5 dynamic sessions featuring over 25 distinguished guests, speakers who enlighten us with the knowledge on the topics of immense relevance and importance to this present world. Whether it was strategic leadership under challenging circumstances, or digital evolution and the impact of AI, or the emergence of an agile leader who embraces challenge and innovation, or the current crisis in the social well-being, or the role of education in addressing global challenges, or achieving success through innovation, each session offered valuable insights and meaningful learning. I am confident that every delegate who participated in these sessions will leave with high energy, fresh perspective, and actionable knowledge that will enhance their managerial skills and leadership qualities. This convention has once again reaffirmed TMA's unwavering spirit of collaboration, purpose, and progress. TRIMA 2025 was graciously inaugurated by our Honorable Governor of Kerala, Sri Rajendra Vishwanath Arlekji, whose inspiring address on the importance of human touch in management continues to resonate with us even now. Our guest of honor, Air Marshal Manish Khanna, delivered a keynote address that set the tone for the 2 days that follow. Their presence truly elevated this event, and we remain deeply thankful for their encouragement. Today, it is our privilege to express gratitude to Her Highness Princess Poyantirunal Parvati Bai for consenting to be our chief guest in this valedictory ceremony. Thamburati, your esteemed presence has honored us. Ambassador Srinivasan sir is always, as he mentioned just now, he is amongst us. He was the chairman of TRIMA 2024. And sir, we are delighted to have you here once again. Thank you. State Bank of India, if you see in Trivandrum any activity, State Bank of India is always ready to come and support any activity, not only in industry but also in cultural or social activities. Any initiative, CSR initiative, they are always coming forward to help Trivandrum, whatever the activities is there. We have with us today SBI's General Manager, Sri Sushil Kumar. Let me thank him for gracing this occasion. Now comes to our TRIMA 2025 chairman and our past president, my dear Dr. Ayyappan Jettan. Sir, for your mentorship and tireless commitment to TRIMA's vision and your steady guidance as the chairman has been our compass. Thank you, sir. A special note of gratitude to Sri Unnikrishnan, our president, whose steady leadership and encouragement gave us the confidence to aim higher and achieve better. Thank you, President. We also thank Sri Unnikrishnan Gopinath, Secretary TMA, for his unwavering support. To all our speakers, industry leaders, technocrats, educationalists, and innovators, your insight have shaped critical conversations and left lasting impressions. From our inaugural session to the final plenary today, your ideas resonated with both relevance and depth. Thank you. Thank you all. We extend our sincere thanks to our sponsors. You can see in both sides, they are there, platinum sponsors, gold, for their unwavering support, which helped to bring our collective ideas to life. Dear sponsors, your partnership is invaluable. Thank you. We also thank KIMS Health, Adani and NIMS for their support in sponsoring various TMA awards. Thank you, sir. Also, KIMS Health yesterday has joined with the TMA to support a CSR initiative at SG Special School at Katakada. Thank you. Our appreciation also goes to the press and media partners for amplifying our reach. And also we thank the event management team for handling delegate registration logistics efficiently. A heartfelt salute to every committee member of TRIMA 2025, from sponsorship, delegate, coordination, registration, all teams, hospitality, students outreach, all teams. Thank you. It is you, dear team, who made this event outstanding. Thank you. Thank you, all the committee members of TRIMA 2025. We extend our warm thanks to past presidents and the managing committee for the advice and goodwill, which paved the way for today's success. It is indeed heartening that large number of TMA members are present here today. I thank you all profusely for your presence and support. I also thank our venue staff and our ever-efficient TMA office manager for his support and service. Finally, a word of gratitude to MCs, Dr. Jisha Gopi and Ms. Anupama Ramachandran. And they were guided by our past secretary, Wing Commander Agastri, for conducting the sessions with such elegance and seamless flow. Friends, let us carry forward not just memories but momentum. May the discussions, connections, and collaborations we have shared here continue to inspire, change, and spark innovation in our communities and our organizations. Thank you all once again for your time, your presence, your belief in what TRIMA stands for. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. Now let's take a moment to thank our esteemed dignitaries for their gracious presence. May I request Mr. G. Unnikrishnan, President TMA, to kindly hand over a memento as a gratitude to Her Royal Highness Poyam Tirunal Gauri Parvati Bai. May I request Dr. M. Ayyappan, Chairman TRIMA, to kindly hand over the memento to Mr. T.P. Srinivasan. I would like to request Mr. Suresh Kumar, Senior Vice President TMA, to kindly hand over a memento to Mr. Sushil Kumar.
We can't allow you to go without that photograph. We need a memory with you, ma'am, and the ambassador, all of you. If you would just cross to the right of that stage for the photo opportunity. Thank you so much for that.
As TRIMA 2025 draws to a close, we come together to explore leadership for an emerging world, and what we leave with are far more than insights. We carry forward new connections, renewed perspectives, and a collective determination to shape the future with responsibility, creativity, and compassion.
So let TRIMA 2025 be not just a milestone, but a momentum. May the ideas that have been sparked here ripple outward into boardrooms, classrooms, communities, and hearts. So until we meet again, thank you for being a part of this journey. Stay bold, stay kind, and keep leading forward. Goodbye from the Trivandrum Management Association.
Special invitees, delegates, and TMA members, please don't forget to collect your delegate kit from the counters.